Hello and welcome back to the Karuna Podcast. I'm Ryan Lyddall, I'm the manager of the Karuna Coffee House. Last week I was joined by Simon Hannington, who's one of the directors of Karuna Action, and today I'm joined by the other director of Karuna Action, Jessica Cathcart.
Hello.
So Jessica, can you tell us, for anyone who doesn't know you already, a bit about yourself and how you got involved in Karuna?
Yeah, sure. So, Jessica, I work at Karuna, have done for a little while. I live in Aldershot, absolutely love the community. I grew up in a small town in South Wales, and I feel like when you're part of a community like that, it kind of gets under your skin and it's something you never forget. And you're kind of constantly searching for that kind of feeling of belonging. So that's why I like Aldershot. And I guess that kind of plays into my role at Karuna as well. So I got involved in Karuna in a really strange way. So essentially, I heard a voice from heaven. And yeah, I guess I kind of felt like there was a calling. So went along with it, and 18 years later, here we are.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Would you say you found that same sense of community here that you found when you were in Wales?
Yeah, definitely. I think Aldershot plays into that a lot, but also being part of a church. I feel like I'm rich because I have such a strong sense of community in lots of different ways. So Aldershot plays into that, Karuna plays into that, church plays into that. So it's very important.
And your role at Karuna, your face, what's the word? Important part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I probably wouldn't have ended up here if it wasn't for that. Because, I mean, when you hear a voice from heaven, if you're not that way inclined, you're probably...
You'll look the other way.
Yeah, you'll be like, oh, what was that? And then walk off.
Yeah.
But I tended to kind of... Well, I followed that sort of pull to something. I mean, I wasn't heading that way, so it's not like I was just sat there like, okay, Lord, speak to me. I was at university really wanting to be an archaeologist and travel around the world and dig for treasure, essentially, like any good archaeologist. And yeah, I just really felt God speak to me about doing something beyond myself and exploring that a little bit. So.
Because you started working for Karuna Action when it was called King's Care. So were you going to the King's Church at the time?
Yeah, I was. I'd sort of joined just before I started university, so I was new to the whole gig. But as part of my university dissertation, I went to India, and I went with a lovely group of people who, still friends. And I learnt a lot from them. They were sort of from the church in Stephen Beck's.
Yeah.
They were part of the church, and I kind of went along under the guise of, oh no, I'm only here to do some research, guys, I'm not getting involved. And ended up spending time with this project that Karuna was supporting, or King's Care was supporting, which I didn't really know anything about at the time. So when I got back, I was like, oh, this is interesting, because I kind of feel like my focus for being there shifted whilst I was there. So I feel like things were happening under the surface before I even realised they were happening.
And obviously you weren't the director when you started. What was your role when you first started?
Oh gosh, so I've kind of started as an admin assistant.
Okay.
Admin's still one of my loves, so it's good. And like a PA to George, who obviously Simon would have said in the last podcast that George founded the whole thing. So he's the reason why we're all here, I guess.
And now that you're the director, can you talk about what does a day in the life of a director of Karuna look like? What do you get up to on a day-to-day basis?
Oh gosh, yeah, like every day's different. Yeah. For me personally, it's still quite a lot of admin.
Okay.
Which I enjoy doing, so that's fine. I'm a very organised person.
Yeah. So
I spend a lot of time just making sure my time's organised, other people's time's organised. Some of my time is spent nagging others, which I have to say I also quite enjoy.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I mean, some of my job involves Aldershot-based things. Some of it involves international stuff. So I'll be contacting partners, or they'll be contacting me. Some finance stuff as well. So numbers.
Because we mentioned it briefly last week, but you're also a trustee for the Grub Hub in Aldershot.
Yeah, I'm on the board of directors there as well. So, yeah, I mean, that was just something that I feel like came out of that sense of like community and just wanting to fulfill a need that I saw along with some other people. Yeah, and I mean, that's 4 years down the line, and it's incredible because it's feeding local people, who need food. So.
A word you said a lot there is you've said the word community a lot. Why is community so important to you?
I just feel like it's such like a natural expression of humanity. When you get like a bunch of people in, maybe it's a place, or there's like some sense of commonality that brings people together. It's just really special, and I feel like Aldershot is one of those places where that happens in droves. Like people are so committed to the sense of place here, and it creates a different environment, and I really enjoy it. I get a lot of life out of it.
Brilliant. So the main thing we're here to talk about today is our work in Uganda.
Yeah.
In particular,
the
Child Promotion School.
Yes.
Fantastic. So, can you take us back to the beginning? How did Karuna get involved in this project? How did it all start?
Yeah, I mean, I'm laughing just because like a lot of what we get involved in as Karuna just starts on a really crazy note. But yeah, Child Promotion School, so that's run by a guy called Joel, who you've met.
Yeah.
He's been here.
Very nice guy.
You haven't been to Uganda yet.
Not yet.
So one day. But yeah, Joel runs Child Promotion School, but before that, he was running a church in Kampala, a very community orientated church. So people would come to a bit of land and they would bring chairs, they'd bring a tent, they'd bring speakers, and they would kind of just share time, food, the word of God together. And he started to see there were like all these kids that would just turn up, and he was like, why aren't these kids in school? Like, we need to get them sorted. And then he found out some of them didn't have parents, so that kind of sense of wanting to look after them and like parent them, get them into school, was really his heart. George was already supporting Joel in his work in sponsoring some children when I came on board, so the work was already there. But in 2011, I think it was, I went to Uganda for the first time. So this is like 4 years into working with George.
Okay.
So we travelled quite a bit to places like Sri Lanka and India. I've never been to Uganda. So 2011, we're in Uganda. Simon's there as well. And we just have this really amazing talk with Joel and some of his they weren't really a board at the time. But that's like really...
supporters?
Yeah, they were just people like elders of the church and people he really trusted and, he respected. So we were just having this conversation and, we just said to him, Joel, what is it that you really want to do here? Because, you're sort of sponsoring these random kids, but what's the dream? And he just said, well, I want to start a school of my own because they're all in different schools all over the city. I can't really keep an eye on them. So I really want to start a school where they can come and they can live, they can eat, they can be looked after and they can be educated. And that literally opened like a massive can of worms, to the point where in 2014, I went back to Uganda with Stephen Beck, because Joel had signed this contract with a landowner to give them a lot of money.
Okay.
And didn't have the money.
Oh no.
So, and had started actually building on this piece of land.
Yeah.
We were working with him at the time, so it wasn't completely outrageous, although kind of outrageous at the same time. So we'd started this process of okay, you want to build a school, we need to find a bit of land.
Yeah.
So Joel was doing all the work, because obviously he lives in Uganda, he speaks the language, knows the culture, that kind of thing. So we were leaving all the hard work up to him, really. We were fundraising, kind of trying to raise awareness of what was going on, which was going really well, but not £24,000 in a week which is what the situation ended up being. So yeah, Steve and I went to Uganda because we were concerned about the situation, and this landowner seemed like she was pretty serious about the whole thing. And I was like, what's going to happen now? Because we'd already invested some money. Our trustees were like, you need to go and sort this out. So I was like, oh no. So I met this woman who was just this absolute formidable force of a woman. She was very well respected in the community, very powerful. She was like a community leader, but like a tribal leader. And I didn't want to mess with that. I was just like, look, you're obviously a really lovely person. I wanted to kind of honour the fact that we'd made this commitment via Joel with the land. Oh my goodness, it was crazy. So we got into this whole thing, and I was just like, we can't pay you the money that you need within like a week. We've come because, you know, there is no more time left, and we can't just hand over cash because we don't have the cash. So she was like, okay, we'll come to some sort of agreement. So in the end, I think she gave us a year.
Oh, wow.
Or like somewhere close to a year to pay off the rest of the money that we owed. I think we'd already put in like 12,000 or something.
Okay, so that's a significant chunk of it.
Yeah, so it was like essentially like 3 bits of land. And in our minds, we were like, okay, we're going to do this strategically and we're going to do this logically from like a Western mindset. And obviously being like, you know, white and thinking we know everything, we were like, this is how Joel's also going to see this situation. Of course he didn't, because he's not thinking with the same mindset as us. And also he was going in 100% full of faith, knowing that God had given him this mandate and he was going to get this school and this land. So we thought, right, 12 grand, we'll buy the first bit. And then when we've got the next 12 grand, we'll buy the next bit. And then we'll do it like that. Except Joel had kind of signed this thing saying, no, we'll take the whole lot and we'll give you all the money in such and such a time.
Do you find cultural differences like this are often a thing?
Yeah, all the time. And it's our responsibility to work with the partners. I mean, they're doing all the work.
Of course.
So, and they're working with their own communities. We're not there to kind of interfere with the status quo. We're there to kind of help support the initiatives that they want to bring to their own people. But yeah, this was a massive learning curve, and one that like none of us that were involved have ever forgotten it because it was so mad.
Yeah.
But yeah, we came back from that trip knowing we'd bought ourselves time, but still thinking, how the hell are we going to raise 24 grand in a year? Like, that wasn't something we were used to doing. But honestly, it was incredible because I think it was like a week after we got back. I was at church and I spoke to this lady called Sue Stott, who'd been out to Uganda with her husband Peter. And she just said, look, it's not that impossible because all you need is 24 people to give £1,000. I almost laughed in her face. I was like, yeah, great, thanks, Sue. Great advice. Like, only 24 people to give £1 grand. Like, are you crazy? But within 7 days of her saying that, we'd had 7 people come to us to give us £1,000.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, oh, okay, this is happening. And like within weeks, we had all the money. It was incredible. So we sent the money off, and then within a few months of that, the school was being built. Like, there were actual buildings there that the kids were already being moved into because their current situation was not good. So yeah, we had like suddenly all these hundreds of kids that Joel was now completely responsible for. But yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, but it's times like that when you're like, what is this all about? Like, what is my life? This is a job, but actually it's not a job. It's
so much
it goes way beyond, and you get to meet these incredible people. I mean, like Joel, you should do a podcast with Joel.
Oh, I'd love to, definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
Next
he's on
time
another level of like, he just operates on this whole other level of just knowing that, you know, God is capable of doing stuff. And so he doesn't have the same barriers that, I would personally have.
And talking about Joel, or just our partners in general, what is the stream of communication like there? How often are you communicating with these people?
It's kind of sporadic.
Sure.
Not going to lie. There are times when communication is quite free. Someone like Joel will happily use WhatsApp. So, I mean, in most African countries, I'm saying this very generally, mobile communication is kind of what they operate on. So they kind of leapfrog in technology. So they wouldn't have the infrastructure like we have here of like, not every house will have broadband, but every house will have Wi-Fi in terms of like mobile connection. So communication can be interesting.
Okay.
And with Joel, it's, if he needs us for something or if we need him for something, we know that we're available. Some partners it's difficult. It depends on the situation in the country. Like in the Democratic Republic of the Congo at the moment, things are not good, or things haven't been good there for a long time. So that's hard to get news, and sending money to places like that becomes a real problem. So yeah, but with things like WhatsApp and Zoom, it's much easier now. Like
can imagine,
18 years ago when I started, it was
much more difficult.
Yeah, it was like all email basically, or like we would even like write letters to people. We had a fax machine, Ryan.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Do you even like use one of those things?
I have not. No.
Yeah,
So,
no, they're not good.
Bringing it back to the Child Promotion School, what does it look like today? How many children does it support, if you know? And what kind of support does the school provide outside of just education?
Yeah, so I think they've got around 500 kids.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. So
and is that capacity, do you know, or is?
Very much.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, they're like bursting at the seams. Poor kids are like sardines in there. No, they always make it work. And honestly, there's probably, I think Joel said about 65% of the kids have no parents whatsoever. So no guardians, no parents, no one to take care of them.
Oh, God.
So they board at the school.
Yeah.
And then there are other children that do have parents, but, can't afford formal education.
Yeah.
And then there's a smaller number of kids that actually pay to go to Child Promotion School.
Yes.
So they're almost helping us cover
their
the
fees. Help cover the thefts for everyone
exactly.
else.
So it's a really, really good model, one that Joel sort of came up with. But as well as education, they have food, obviously a home for a lot of them.
Yeah.
And Joel is very intent on kind of creating these well-rounded citizens to kind of send them out into Uganda to be, good, upright people. So they can go to the school with nothing and kind of everything is there for them, including family. So,
a question I was going to ask you earlier, but I missed it. Do you know where the name Child Promotion School comes from, or what it means?
Certainly not from us,
Sure.
because I mean it's not like a normal name for a school, is it really? But yeah, again, it kind of shows the heart of the people that are involved in the project. So Joel wanted to promote the children.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where it came from.
For the promotion of the future of children. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there any stories, maybe of any children who've been to the school who are currently there that particularly speak to you?
So many. But if you ask anyone that knows anything about Child Promotion School or has been to Uganda, they'll all tell you the name of this guy, Thaddeuse.
Okay. But what was that, sorry?
Thaddeuse. So Thaddeuse is now a barrister. So not a barista, he doesn't work in a coffee shop. He's an actual legit barrister.
Bit more impressive than my job.
Yeah, so he went to law school. He didn't actually start formal school until he was 13.
Oh, wow, okay.
And
Quite late.
He came to Joel and he begged Joel, please sponsor me. I want to go to school.
Yeah.
I don't think he had any parents at the time. So Joel even though he's only like a few years younger than Joel, like not old enough, not young enough to be his kid or anything, Joel took him on as like one of his own. Yeah. So he became one of the 11 children that Joel has, though his wife's only given birth to 4 of them.
11 children, because Joel's adopted a lot of children.
Yeah, so he's taken on an extra 7 kids as well as his own.
Wow.
It's incredible. But Thaddeuse just was so determined he was going to make something of his life. That he really just grabbed the bull by the horns, and when it came to school he was like, I'll take whatever you can give me. So at one point we had 10 people supporting him to pay his fees through university. Made it through law school. He worked for a time at the UN Refugee Authority in Uganda.
Oh, wow.
So he's helping people. I mean, there's a lot of movement that happens across African nations. Just he gives back to the community as well. Like Joel will say, he came back recently. And he's a successful guy, and he wants to kind of remember the people that helped him get to where he is and remember, where he came from. So, I mean...
really inspiring story.
Very inspiring. Yeah, and there's many like that. But anyone that's been to Child Promotion School will tell you the same. Like Thaddeuse is the success story.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And do you know what's next for the school? Are there any more plans for the future, or do you know are there needs that aren't being met at the moment that we'd like to help with? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier about them being at breaking point in terms of space, but we'd definitely like to help them expand in terms of classrooms and just extra buildings in general. But there's a balance, because obviously you've only got so much land. So we've looked at maybe buying a second site so we can build a separate secondary school. They already have a secondary school, but they're having to separate each bit of school. So they've got the nursery, the primary, the secondary, and the Ugandan authorities have said actually you can't have all 3 together. Which is really helpful when you spent 10 years building building a school. So they changed the goalposts all the time. So it's like you're not really sure.
Makes it even harder for you.
When you're starting something, you're like, is this going to be legal in the next few years? But Joel takes this, like it doesn't faze him. He's just like, okay, well, we'll just do something different and we'll carry on. But definitely, if you talk to Joel, he'll want a university, he'll want like vocational training, all this stuff we've kind of talked about in the past. But
Brilliant.
I guess really it's just balancing the faith aspect, first of all. Like Joel will always have hopes and dreams. And obviously as like partners that have come alongside him, as Karuna, we want to kind of encourage that. But we can't overpromise. We can't say, oh yeah, have whatever you want. So we have to work hard to make sure that we can do certain things with projects and not just say yes to everything, which is hard sometimes.
I guess one of the struggles of a charity is we've got lots of different partners. We only have so much money. How do we prioritise where to send that money?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
So for anyone who's listening and feels like they want to support the school, what would you say to them?
Yes, please. Yeah, I mean, it's easy just to kind of donate money.
Yeah.
And not really get involved. But what I like to think about Karuna is because we're small. I mean, you work in our building. There's like 5 of us here. We're a small charity. We like to be relational. We like to be quite informal. So people can talk to us. People can find out about the school. We've sent lots of people out to the school in sort of organised groups. So people can get involved in lots of ways. But essentially, the school cannot run and wouldn't be there if it wasn't for donations from very generous people, including all those people that gave £1,000, which I always look back at that and I just think I could never doubt the generosity of people, because that is just, it was insane. I'm not gonna lie, there were nights of like very little sleep, a lot of worrying, but ultimately Joel knew what he wanted and he went for it, and it was right at the end of the day. I mean, I don't think we would have done it if it hadn't been like forced upon us.
I guess his enthusiasm kind of pushed you to try doing things you hadn't considered doing before.
His level of faith is incredible. It's like, it's really inspiring.
Well, we've spoken about Joel a lot. How would you describe Joel for anyone who's listening who's not met him before?
He's very kind.
Yeah.
He's like a big brother. He's like a father. He's full of hope and dreams, and considering he has a very harrowing story of how he grew up, which he could tell you about that when you do your podcast with him.
Looking forward to it.
But yeah, considering where he's from and how he's been brought up, how he survived, it's incredible, like his outlook on life. And he has a beautiful family. His wife Pamela is just amazing. She's like a mum to like the whole school. Incredible people. And all of our partners, have to say, they give up their lives to do what they do. I mean, it's okay for us here, like, we're sort of working, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5-ish, and, we do what we do, and we all obviously love it, otherwise we wouldn't be here, but, they really are that kind of sacrificial, community-orientated people that you think, I want to be like that.
Well, Jessica, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you found this video enjoyable and informative. I'm sure we'll be talking about more of our projects soon. If you'd like to find out more about Karuna, or maybe even if you'd like to donate, head over to karunaaction.org. Have a great rest of your day.